Hi, people. Welcome here to another episode of the Unmasquerade Show. It has been a while. I have missed you, people. I have missed sitting here, talking to you, and feeding you beautiful, beautiful stories and inspirational talks. So, we are back again today. I am back today, and I want to talk about yet another very sensitive topic. It's a difficult one. It could be easy, it could be difficult depending on how you view this. But I want to talk about this deriving from my own personal experience. Um, I want to talk about a topic that is very common amongst us, but then yet very hard to navigate. I want to talk about forgiveness and healing. So, we have all, at any given point in our lives, faced betrayal, faced being backstabbed. We have found ourselves in situations that we have been let down by the people that we trusted so dearly, and this in more than often cases has created a very big drift. It has ended relationships, it has broken up families, it has broken up homes. So betrayal comes in different forms. It could be you having entrusted someone, with information that was very sensitive. It could have been you trusting someone with your life. It could have been, you trusting someone with, the things that are very important to you. So betrayal is hard. It is very, very hard. I have personally faced some of the worst, in my opinion. I know everybody has their own experience, so this is my experience. I have faced the worst kinds of betrayal. I believe I have changed, but I used to be the kind of person who, believed in the good of others, believed that, you give multiple opportunities to people. When someone screws you over once, people always change. I always believe that people always change. I always chose to see the good side in people. And out of that, I gave too many chances in life. I don't know if that was my weak point, because then it led to a situation where I allowed someone to put me through the betrayal over and over again. But then also there's a different kind. I have a different kind of betrayal. Have faced betrayal as a young girl. I have faced betrayal as a teenager. I have faced betrayal as a young lady, and even in my life as an adult. And that was really, 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 really hard to navigate. And I think in this talk, I want to go through the stages, or the stages of that, and how you can be able, to pull yourself out of a very, very dark place because of something that someone you really, really depended on, or, banked all your hoped on, failed you. Yeah. So I remember I'm not going to go into details, yeah, because some of the things are very, very sensitive, and they involve people that I really care about. As a child, I faced betrayal. And when I faced this betrayal, I think I was about, okay, I was young. And because I was a child, I did not comprehend this kind of betrayal. So I grew up, I could not comprehend it until when I was in my teenage years. I faced the same kind of betrayal again. Just how you can, put your trust in someone, or or you are put in someone's trust, and then they take advantage of that. And I think when it happened a second time, then I began to comprehend, and I was like, okay, so this has happened again. This should not be happening. This isn't right. Yeah. And so I began processing, and it is at that point that I started building that strong resentment towards whoever had, put me through that situation. And I developed a hatred for this person with a passion. With a passion, because I felt that as a child, I didn't have a choice. I didn't know, I didn't even understand what was going on, and that this person, had the power or the right to protect me from that. And then I got into a situation in my life that went on, and actually when history repeated itself in my teenage years, I grew very hateful. Very, very, very hateful. And it shaped my view of people. It shaped my view on life. It shaped my view on, how I see, how do I use the right? Let me just say how I view people in general. And I think that's the point in my life where I started becoming very, very cautious with myself. But that was not even the worst yet. Then I find myself in a situation where I was like, okay, fine, I'm finally in a safe environment. This is my life now. This is my future now. And this person, was going to make sure I was safe. And I felt like I was in this bubble that no one will ever be able to pull me through any form of betrayal again, Well, I was in for a wild run. So then I had a period of 9 years of my life, 9 consecutive years where I went through constant betrayal. I went through constant acts of being demeaned and devalued and belittled, anything you can think of that will bring someone to their lowest point. And around the time, if you guys have watched my previous episode when I was talking about grief, so around the time that I lost my father, I think that was the second worst, if still not yet the worst, betrayal that I have ever in my life experienced. I don't know if I will ever, I do not want to experience anything beyond that. And when that situation happened, I thought I knew pain. I thought I knew hate. I thought I knew resentment. I never knew that I could bring myself to, at that time, hate someone I loved with my entire being. You hate someone with so much passion, but at the same time, you still love them with so much passion that you think you can help this person out of being able to betray you, being able to undo the pain and the hurt they've caused you, but then you fail to realize that the damage is already done. And when that happened, I want to say I believe I lost my mind. First thing, I was in denial. I was like, okay, this cannot happen. Like, this is not even real, you know. These are things that only happen in movies, or, you know, they're not real life experiences that actually happen. But it's happening to me. But am I being paranoid? Is this what is this what is really going on? Is this, did I see my own things? I started doubting myself because I was in denial. And I struggled, you know, to reason, you know, with anyone who could understand. I tried to reason with anyone who could be able to understand my pain. I tried so hard to prove to everyone, and then, you know, it's something that is so absurd that you're struggling to convince yourself that this actually happened, and at the same time you're trying to convince the people close to you or the people around you that, hey, this actually happened and I am losing it. But the same way that it's so hard for you to comprehend is the same way that it's equally hard for these people to comprehend, because some things are just out of this world. Some things, and I now believe that, you know, some movies that we see and we assume they're just movies, they're things that are actually happening. I don't think there's any movie that we watch on this planet that someone just decided to do. You know, they come from somewhere. And then you feel like nobody believes you. You feel like, you know, nobody believes you because it's so absurd. It is so absurd that even you're struggling to believe it, and to the point that you're trying to make anyone that you feel can, you know, help you out of this, believe that, hey, this actually happened and I need it to stop. I need you to help me help it stop. But guys, I like, for real? Like, these things actually do happen? And then and then, you know, sometimes you confide in someone and you think that they empathize with you and they understand you. But I don't know if it's because sometimes the gossip is too juicy or it's too hard to believe. But I mean, when confidence is confidence, if someone shares with you something in confidence, it's confidence, you know. But then you'd find the situations I go and share with someone that I think, hey, this is my very close friend or whatever, and she will understand. And the next thing you know, you're hearing this same thing from a few other people, you know, and it's no longer a personal experience anymore. So then you develop this mechanism of, who can I trust? Yeah, if I can't even trust the people closest to me, then who can I trust? And everybody that I think I can trust, what can they actually do to help me? And it took me a long time trying to get people to, you know, help me navigate this, help me make that betrayal stop, help me, you know, just have a normal life again and be whole. And this thing sent me close to insanity. And I went into depression because I felt so alone. So alone. The only person I thought could help me navigate that situation at the time, of course, was my dear late parents. But then in this time, my dad has been in hospital. I do not want to worry him with my troubles. My mom has been with him in the hospital. I do not want to worry them with my troubles. I want them to focus on their healing. So then I feel so alone. I was actually alone in all this. And I felt like I was pushed. I was in a dark hole and I wasn't seeing a way out. And I could not see how this would end. I could not see how I would recover from this situation. And I lost myself. You know, in the process, I had no enthusiasm for anything. I didn't want. I woke up in the morning with zero enthusiasm for anything, with zero enthusiasm to, you know, do my daily chores, routines, or work. Like I lived for this situation. I lived angry at this, at the betrayal. I lived angry at how people could be, how it's possible for people to be so insensitive and selfish and, you know, not care about the people they're hurting and everyone involved and how it's affecting. I could not bring myself to comprehend that. And I remember I went down to 48 kgs. And I think it hit me one time when I was at a friend's function, and then there were a group of kids, you know, and, you know, I was walking in with this group of kids, and someone actually thought I was one of the kids. Like, did I grow that small in such a short amount of time? Is it? And that was like, was it that bad? Am I losing myself? And if I lose myself, what's going to happen to the people that are depending on me? The people that have no energy or no capability to defend themselves if I'm not here anymore. And I said no. This, I have to pull myself together. I'm alone in this. I have to pull myself together. And then I remember there's this one time. I think the only solace I found at that time is that I would go to church and, you know, sit with the choir and sing. And I don't know, that just gave me some sense of relief. But deep down inside, where? And I'll never forget that there's this one time, I think there's a lady who came and noticed I was always fighting tears and I was sad, and, you know, and she just came and she asked me, "Are you okay?" And when she asked me that, I broke down. It's like that was the first time someone actually cared about how I felt. She didn't know me, but I felt like for the first time, someone in all this chaos, someone actually asked me how I am. Someone actually noticed that I was not okay without me saying anything. And I'll never forget that moment. Um, that was the beginning of a form of liberation for me. Yeah. And as I say this, Dorothy, wherever you are, I will always appreciate you. And sometimes it's important when you're going through situations that even you cannot comprehend. It's important, and God always sends the people that you need by your side at the time. And I started, learning. And from that moment when we had that first conversation, and she remained a dear and close friend and confidant throughout all my difficult journeys. And she taught me the value of healing. She taught me the value of forgiveness. It actually took a long time for me to be able to comprehend that when someone betrays you or when someone hurts you and you carry this pain and hate around, it's like walking around with the load every single day and not expecting to be worn out and not expecting to be tired and expecting you walking around with your heavy load to punish the other people. You expect your misery to be a punishment to the other people. But then sometimes these people don't even realize they're hurting you. They're not bothered by the fact that they're hurting you. They're oblivious and selfish in their needs to even bother about what their actions are doing to you. And so it is really, really, really important to choose you. And I want to say the biggest lesson I learned from that particular experience, because what I did, I separated myself from the people who caused me the pain and the hurt, although it was difficult because I could not avoid them completely. But I chose to live like they do not exist. And I remember this friend Dorothy told me one thing, and this is a lesson I have learned that I will take with my life everywhere I go. Forgiveness is a choice, but healing is a process. When you choose to forgive, it does not mean that the pain will go away instantly. It does not mean that the effects of the hurt and everything you have fought is going to go away instantly. Forgiveness is simply a choice to yourself and a promise to yourself to take that burden off your shoulder. It's a choice to not let the weight of other people's mistakes pull you down and destroy you. It's a choice to not punish yourself for the things that people do to you. The best you can always do is rise above the betrayal. And when I say this, it means if whichever direction this was supposed to take you, along the destruction lines. So some people, when they go through betrayal, they go into alcoholism, they go into perversion, all sorts of destructive devices, smoking, drugs, whatever it is. And it is so easy to get there. it is so easy to get there because you just want a momental outlet for the pain. You want a momental outlet for the pain. And it will, for a moment, it will relieve. But when the effects of whatever it is you try wear off, the pain will still be there staring at you. It does not solve anything. It puts your feelings on hold. And so I made a deliberate choice to forgive, even when I was still feeling the pain. And the pain went on for a very long time. I made the deliberate choice to forgive. And I actually prayed and asked God. And these were my words. I said, I have chosen to forgive, but I need you to help me heal. Because there are things you can never heal from on your own. There are things you can never be able to rise above from on your own. You need a support system, the right support system, and you need God. And I separated myself. I started ignoring the things that would hurt me. I started being oblivious, intentionally oblivious to the things that continued to happen that were hurting me. I chose me. And I remember in the process, when I lost my dad, all hopes died with him. I was a daddy's girl growing up. My dad was my hero. My dad had the solutions to everything for me, yeah. And so I lost him and was like, girl, you're doomed. Like, all hope is gone. And because I really wanted to share with him what was happening. I really wanted, I really wanted his shoulder to that situation. But he didn't even have the strength to bear his own struggles, with his illness at the time. If you look at my previous video on grief, you will understand. So then I lose my dad. My world crashed. My world crashed. And I wanted to die with him. Because I was like, if he's not here anymore, who's going to look out for me? Who's going to give me the solutions? My dad was a very, very wise man. He had the wisdom to navigate the most difficult of situations with so much ease and grace, and that was what I needed at the time. But above all, I still just needed my dad. So I was shattered. And I think from then, I even went into worse depression, And I remember at one time, there's a lady pastor I was talking to at the time that was also, just guiding me through. And one day she just said to me, because I was grieving about my dad, but I was also grieving about the hopelessness of the situation that I was in. And she said something so profound to me that was a turning point for me. And she said this: you cannot mourn the living and the dead. If you continue like this, we're gonna bury you. And the people who depend on you are going to be destroyed. The helpless people who are looking up to you, who cannot even comprehend what life is are the ones who will suffer the most. You have lost your father. It is okay to mourn him. But you cannot grieve people who are alive and who are living their life as they please, without any care or consideration of how this is hurting you. And that was such a mind-blowing eye-opener, because I also looked at it this way, like, hey, the only person who actually deserves my tears at this time is the father that I'm missing. Not the people who don't even care about my tears. And that was a turning point for me. And I said, you know what? It ends here. So I started navigating. I would make deliberate prayers and just ask God to take away the hatred and the anger that I had at that time, because it was consuming me, you know. And then I started to focus on me, focus on the things that would fulfill me, the people that would fulfill me, you know, the people that genuinely needed me and depended on me. I shifted my focus to that. I shifted my focus generally from the negative to the positive. Anything negative that would bring me down, I blocked it. I shut it off. I became numb. I literally became numb. And I accepted that I was on my own. No one was going to come and fix this for me. No one was going to come and fix how I felt. No one was going to come and change anything. If anything, when people choose to hurt you, the power to stop to hurt you lies in their hands. And as I say this, I'm reminded of something my therapist told me that has stuck with me to date, and that guides how I react to situations and how I process situations. And she said, you have no control over how people treat you or what they do, but you have control over how you respond to their actions. You have control over how you allow their actions to affect you. And I didn't realize this at the time, because I wasn't going through any therapy until much later on. But I chose to be numb to the things that were done to hurt me. I think it's from then on that I actually developed a sense of numbness that guided me and prepared me for the end of those 9 miserable years. It was a process. It was a journey. And life went on. Several other betrayals still came. The one day I will speak about. One day I will go in depth. This is not the time. When the right time comes, one day I will go in depth. I don't know when. Then another huge, this is the hugest, betrayal I face, was in 2019. At the beginning, on the January 16th and 18th. I witnessed the worst kind of betrayal. But I thank God because by the time this was happening, I had been through years of preparation. I'd been through years on a journey of not self discovery, by the way. I hadn't started to find myself. I actually had, because I had just started therapy. But I had been through a series of experiences that prepared me to some extent for that. But nothing could ever in my life have prepared me for the 19th of January 2019. And when that happened, when those two incidences happened, I was like, there can never be a worse humiliation in my life than this. There can never be a worse level of disrespect in my life than this. And the reason was I gave too many chances. And then, now the worst of it was because it touched on my life. And the fact that I almost actually lost it. But I thank God because how I got out of that situation to date is still something I can never be able to fully comprehend, because I did not see a way out. I can only give that credit 1,067% to God. There is no way I would have survived that situation if it had nothing to do with God. And then after that, I was now in a space where I could process everything that had happened. I was in a frame of mind where I could look back at my life, look at the patterns, look at the things that had happened. And I was now able to go on a journey of self-discovery, of finding myself. And I remember especially for the period of 2019, man, I had anger, consuming anger. Because I felt like if someone felt my life was something to be played with, then let's go 100 yards, you know? And that was the day I said I will do whatever it takes within legal boundaries. So don't worry, I didn't think anything crazy. Within legal boundaries, to ensure that this person or anyone never, ever puts me in that situation again. But the funny thing is that I chose not to do this in hate, because hate can be very consuming. I don't make decisions in hate or in anger. It can be very consuming. And I am a very, 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 very forgiving person. But there's a boundary when crossed, there's no looking back. I will still forgive, but that door will never, when I close that door, There's nothing you can do to ever open it again. No bulldozer in this world can open that door again. And so I went after that last experience. I went from hate to anger to regret to feeling foolish and I went through all sorts of emotions because this was the first time in my life I had the opportunity to comprehend everything that had ever happened and everything that I never had time to comprehend, because it was always one after another, one after another, one after another. But then anger never brings anything good. Hate never brings anything good. It is an unbearable burden. And it also took me a lot of therapy. It took a lot of therapy because in the beginning I was consumed with so much anger and rage that every time I thought about this person and what they did and the kind of dangers they put me in, I would shake with anger. I would shiver with anger. Like, you think I'm freezing, but I'm not freezing. Like, it's anger. But it was consuming me. It was clouding my judgment. It was clouding my thoughts. And I didn't want to be that person. Because to me, it also felt like, or it feels like, when you hold so much anger and resentment towards someone, you still give them the power to control you. So they have a power to control you without even realizing, without even you realizing, you are still giving them that power. And the reason it's power, it's because when you think about them, you still shake with rage or anger. When you hear something about them, you get angry. When, like, anything that touches on them will affect your emotions, will affect your day, will affect your productivity. That is how bad unforgiveness and lack of healing can affect your life. So the reason why I was talking about this is because I know we are going through whatever situations in our lives. There are situations where I don't know if there are things we can ever fully heal from. Yeah. I don't know if I have fully healed from my experiences, but I know that I am in a healthy space where they do not bother me anymore. I know there are things that still trigger me. I know they have made me very cautious about my surrounding, about the people I involve myself with, the people I hang around with, the people I allow into my life, into my personal space, the people I am very, very skeptical about, the people I even allow into my home. So it has made me more self-aware, and I think I'm at a point where it's in a very, very positive space. But it can be very consuming. You do not need to walk around with that burden. And let me tell you something. When you choose to forgive, and let me also say something before I say that, forgiveness does not mean you have to allow the person back in your life. Forgiveness and healing does not mean you must allow the person around you. You can forgive and love from a distance. You can forgive and also forget. For me, forgetting is forgetting the person. You cannot, I don't believe even when the Bible says forgive and forget, it means forgive and forget what was done to you, because trust you me, there are things you can never be able to move past. But you can be able to forget and live your life like that person does not exist. And it's for your own good. There's nothing more rewarding than walking with an unburdened heart, because you're not carrying someone in your heart. I have seen people with so much anger that they're wishing for the people who hurt them they wish the worst on the people who hurt them. That is very dangerous. That is very consuming, because you sit around holding your breath, waiting for the universe or waiting for God to punish this person. Or you're holding yourself hostage. The best thing you can ever do, live your life, become the best version of you, become everything that the world or society or whoever who hurt you never expected you to be able to rise from. But not because you want to teach them a lesson, not because you want to show them that you can, but simply because you want to be the best version of yourself for you, not for anyone else. And also with that, and I hope I can be able to talk about this in the next episode, let us learn from our betrayals on where we need to build boundaries. Let us learn from our betrayals on where we need to draw the line. Let our experiences teach us what we allow and what we do not allow. Because there's something I always say. How you love yourself sets the pace for how other people will love you, sets the pace for how other people will treat you. I hope I'm making sense. How you love yourself will determine the things you will allow in your life to consume you, to destroy you, to bring you down. Just as how you love yourself will determine the things you allow into your life to build you, to grow you, to prosper you, and to make you the best version of yourself you can ever be. So I pray that even as I end this, that we are going to let go. That we are going to let go. I am an example of how fulfilling forgiveness and choosing to heal can be fulfilling to you as an individual.